James, it's great to have you back on InvestorStream with the announcement on the fact that funds from the second $1 million Connect All Kids deployment into the New York public school system will be reflected in customer receipts this quarter. Obviously, this is great progress. Can you give us an update on the program and its take-up in New York and beyond?
Thanks, Alex. And yes, it's a long-awaited and great development. We first reported the second sale back in August 2020. So it's pleasing to note that the 350,000 odd given currency variations that's due to KNeomedia will actually be booked this quarter. Connect All Kids is just starting, and it's a broader rollout has been hampered by school and DOE closures and kids just not being at school and departments of education literally shut down. While this second sale is encouraging, it's actually part of a much larger market we're pursuing in New York, firstly, and secondly, New York State, but also more broadly across the US, remembering that there's 1.25 million public school students in New York City, 2.6 million in New York State, and of course 23 million across the US. I think, Alex, what needs to be pointed out is how supportive Dell Technologies and the NAACP have been of the program. And now that they're comfortable seeing the benefit is being delivered to the kids and the teachers, we'll see these heavyweights really step in and start to drive it. So the first two sales are great, but they're really proof of concept of our partners. The first deployment was great, but the second one obviously validates the program and ensures that it's well worthwhile them pursuing. Also, what's encouraging is DOE is New York City DOE is supportive and behind it, and that opens up a whole other avenue to us. That also includes a parent-teacher DOE executive group that have been formed to manage the program and to roll out the program. So we will continue to focus now deploying the preloaded KNeoWorld licenses and hardware into schools as soon as we can. And our attention then turns, of course, to the next Connect All Kids sale.
Okay, James, so beyond Connect All Kids, you've announced a couple of other channels to market. Can you talk us through how these are performing?
Alex, we've always said, particularly in the United States, our focus today is really about establishing a large network of potential channels to market for KNeoWorld, and that's our focus. And we've proven that there's demand for the blended in-class and at-home content. Groups like Dell would not have an association with us if our content and technology was not dynamic and delivered in favourable teaching and learning outcomes, nor would New York City DOE, which is the largest education system in the world. So for us today, the strategy is really about using these sorts of endorsements to open up many channels to market to build a much larger ecosystem, leveraging major partners that deliver greater baseload of annually recurring sales. Certainly, we acknowledge today that revenue is not huge, but that's not what it's all about at this stage of the market penetration. It's really about the land grab, the opportunity that's in front of us. As for these channels we've reported, we're expanding the sales pipeline a number of ways. We've announced homeschooling, First Inspire, direct to schools, direct to education departments. Many of these channels were paused during 2020, but they are all opening up along with education budget increases and the new administration, which are currently going through final Washington approval budgets increases, which will impact dramatically on education, particularly in the states in which we operate.
Now, James, two more things before I let you go. The ongoing impact of COVID-19 in the US and other markets. Can you talk us through what's happening there and what's next for KNeomedia?
The best description of what is happening today in the business, that we are coming off a 12-month pause. If I look back to where we were in March 2020, the business looks really like that today, only with added opportunities. Product pilots that were being conducted at that time in multiple states with an anticipated outcome of mid-year sales were all paused. Schools were closed. There was no one we could talk to. They didn't have the capability to continue the pilots. Whilst I'm not comfortable about the loss of sales and the cost of 2020 to the company, I am comfortable where we are at present. We have the best pipeline opportunity of the company's history, and we have a huge opportunity, incredible partners, and what we're witnessing on the ground is very encouraging. Today's news on the funds from the second sale really reflects what's starting to happen. It's a great bellwether in terms of what's next, and I'm pleased with the progress on our homeschooling partnership, so we will have more to say on this, and I'll be giving a further general update on operational progress in the US and the progress we're making in new markets and other international jurisdictions shortly. All in all, a lot is happening, and our US team have prevailed in exceptionally difficult circumstances. as have our team here in Australia.
Thanks, James. Always a pleasure to have you on InvestorStream. Thanks very much for joining me today, and all the best for the near term.
Thank you very much, Alex. Cheers.